Hello everybody, Mike and Moose here. Lately everybody's been talking about the new Gaahleri Kaliedo paint line. Today we're testing it for coverage, finish, durability, and value to see how it stacks up. Next on Modeling with Mike. Alrighty then, we're back and welcome back to the bench. And here they are, the Kaliedo Colorworks 24 piece primary color set. These are the new set that Gaahleri came out with. They were kind enough to send me a 24 set of primary colors, as well as a 210 milliliter bottle of gray primer and a 210 milliliter bottle of gloss varnish. So my thanks to them for that. So let's take a look at the box and the packaging here. Box has nice little top here, and on the side has all the colors that you have inside here, and we're going to go through those in a minute. Here it shows you the ingredients in like 5 different languages, and this tells you all about your primary colors and all the paint features, such as their lacquer paint like fast application, scratch resistance, quick drying, self-leveling, solvent-free, high gloss, pre-thinned, strong adhesion and coverage, non-toxic and odorless, compatible for mixing, and prevents paint buildup and bead. And here in 3 languages is a little paragraph about the Kaliedo Colorworks system and the rapid air technology. Let's open it up, see what we got. Covered by foam, nice. Here we have color chart for Kaliedo Colorworks. You have 4 different kinds here. You have primary colors. This is everything in this set. You have mecha colors. Mecha is colors for Gundam, sci-fi and fantasy stuff. So that's your mecha. You have your auto colors for all your car bodies and such. And you have metal. You have 12 different metal colors. Here you have a chart with the color names and the equivalent in the Mr. Color brand that they go with. Very, very handy. Each box, each set comes with a 60 milliliter bottle of Kaliedo thinner, or cleaner. Here is the thinner. Here's what I promised you. It has 24 colors in it. Here's what they are. You of course have black and white. I'm going to show you these colors 2 at a time to save time. You have green and orange, red and yellow. I'm going to leave these out because these are 2 of the 4 colors I'm going to test. Have orange yellow, shine red. You have gray and off-white. Here's purple and blue. I'm going to leave the blue out because that's the 3rd color we're going to use. We're just going to try 3 colors in this test. That's all we need to do. This is cobalt blue, emerald green. We have pink and violet. We have brown and russet. We have blue-gray and sky blue. We have dark green and lime green. And the last two colors, cream yellow and salmon pink. So a nice little variety that we have in here. Gray primer, as I said, and gloss varnish. That's all I have for this. Now, I'll use my 3 bottles I set out here. As for the packaging, they come in dropper bottles. Very handy if you like to mix paints, get a precise mix of thinner and paint. And they suggest starting with a mix of 2 parts paint, 1 part thinner. Here's another thing. Hear that? Has a I would think it's a plastic ball bearing agitator in there. Another great little addition. The only thing I don't like it that I've seen are these. I've seen these before and I've used these before. By the way, these also come with an agitator, as you can hear. Basically, the stuff comes out all over the place on this type of bottle. So that's basically the set and the packaging. I'm going to take these over and we'll get to spraying. We'll start out with the primer on some spoons and we'll test these out. Check out how they hold up against Vallejo Model Air. So we'll be back. All right, and welcome back to the spray booth. We have our spoons here. We are going to spray 4 of these. 3 of them are going to be with the Kaliedo primer. And then we'll clean our brush out and do one with Vallejo surface primer. So let's give this a good shake. Okay, we add some primer here. Cap that primer, we don't want it to spill. So let's just put it back over there. And we'll do 3 spoons, front and back, with the primer. Here we go. Wow. This is going on nice. Very nice. Nice and even. And I like the flow. Look at how well that covered. Wow. Put that there. Turn this on. Again, beautiful coverage. An even coverage, not too much. There's a little bit too much. One more. I love the way this sprays. I love the way it covers, and there we go. Let's see, you know, everything looks great at the start. Let's see how this dries, and we'll pour what's left in here back into the bottle. go. We'll pour some cleaner in there. Put some cleaner in there. Put some IPA in there, and then we'll run some water through it to get the IPA out. They'd recommend you don't use IPA with this line, and I've seen it on other channels where they've actually stripped this stuff down to the bare plastic with just IPA, so it is very susceptible to IPA. Wipe this out and put in some Vallejo primer. Just shake it up. Alright, gotta shake up. All we gotta do is put a few drops in there. This is regular Vallejo surface primer. There, that should be enough. Just a little bit on the bottom. Spray a spoon with. And here we go. This is Vallejo primer. We'll see how everything stacks up. This thing's going on heavy right away, but seems to be leveling out. And there is the Vallejo spoon. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to turn the camera off. We're going to let these dry overnight. Come back tomorrow and we'll see how they stack up durability wise and how it's all dried out and laid out and stuff. And we'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Okay, welcome back to the spray booth. And these have dried overnight. And I'm here to check them, so let's take a look at these, how they turned out. Dried very well, very even. You know, there's a couple of places where, I sprayed them a little heavy, but for the most part, they leveled out. Very nice. This was our Vallejo spoon, which, compare it to the Kaliedo spoon. Kaleido's much more even than the Vallejo. I think as far as primers are concerned, how it lays, the Kaliedo either meets or beats Vallejo. And we'll get to the cost of this at the end of the video. There's a little bit of fisheye there. That was my fault. I should have let the airbrush dry out a little before I sprayed it. Let's see how tough this is. I'm gonna use a toothpick on it. It's coming up a little bit, but that's when I'm pressing hard and going down. This way, it's not coming up at all. Let's try this one. Yeah, you can see a little scratching going on. That's the primer. It's not the paint. That's not what I'm worried about. We'll do the same thing with the paint. Let's see how Vallejo does. See, Vallejo does the same thing. Putting it up against Vallejo, I'd say it either meets or beats it. Now we're gonna go with the colors. I'll spray some colors on. Get all these over here. We'll shake our red. Remember, they tell you to shake these very well. Okay, there we go. We're gonna change airbrushes. I should have did this off camera, but take about 20 seconds here to do this. We're gonna use my Gaahleri Mobius 0.3. The instructions say to use either 2-to-1 or 4-to-1 mix. I usually, on my ochre paints, I use 2-to-1. So I'm gonna put like 10 drops of thinner in here, and then 5 drops of the red. Mix it up here. Make sure that's closed up, so make sure it's all nice and mixed in there. See how it looks. Turn on the air compressor. Turn on the booth. And this is with the prime. This is a little bit I really don't like using it with primer. This is way too runny. It's just running all over the place. So what I'm gonna do, I'll turn that off and I'll blow that off. We'll try again with just the paint. Okay, here we go. There we go. Well, it says on the box that it doesn't need thinner. I agree, because this goes on much better without it. Look at that. Okay. Red with primer. Put on some red without the primer. Wow. I love that. I love this paint. All right. There you have red, with and without primer. I'll turn this off, clean out the brush, and go to yellow next. Okay, one of the worst, absolute worst colors to spray in my experience has been yellow. So we're going to try some yellow next. Some yellow in there. And we'll start with the primed spoon. Alright, here we go with yellow. Oh, it seems to be covering very well. That's from the toothpick. I'm very impressed so far at the coverage of this. It's just one coat. And look at that. That's one coat, people. On yellow. The opacity is great. Absolutely fantastic. Let me put these aside. I will turn this off again. We'll come back and we'll do blue. Alright, and we're ready for some blue here. What we're going to do, on the blue I'm going to do spraying on the back, and on the primer one I'm going to brush paint it on the front. So we'll get to see how this works when it's brushed on. So here we go with blue. Again, coming out, spraying beautifully. Laying down nice and even. Everything's covered. There we go. There's that one. Our spoon without prime. This stuff is spraying great. I have had none, zero problem with tip dry, spraying on here evenly, except when I get too close and put on too much trigger. And we'll see how it dries here in about an hour or so. That's all that. I got one of my detail brushes. I'm going to stick it in here, get some blue paint on it. Well, I stuck it a bit too far, but hey, and we'll brush it on. It's streaking. This stuff does not like to be brushed on. It's saying no way. As it says on the bottles and on the box, it is formulated for airbrushing. They didn't lie, because this is just streaky. It looks like dollar store craft paint when you brush it on. So note to self, okay? Spray only. I think enough said on that. We'll clean that off. Then I will clean off the airbrush again, and we'll do the blue-gray Kaliedo Model Air on the last spoon. Once again, we'll be back. Alright, we're back. So, just to make sure we're giving equal time, we're going to do one spoon with Kaliedo Model Air. This is blue-gray. And we'll see how that does. There we go. we'll see how it dries up and how it measures up. What do I think of this spraying wise? Consistency is good. I love it coming out. It has a nice even flow to it, lays down nicely. I mean, wow. Like I said, we'll see how it holds up to other tests when I give it a chance to dry. But they all seem to be drying nice and evenly. Seem to be leveling out nicely. So the consistency is great. And I did it straight from the bottle. I would suggest do not use the primer until you are sure of your ratios. Okay? I play around with it. It's a new line, so I play around with it till you got the ratios right, and then start using your primer. I mean, not your primer, your thinner. Because from what I see of it, it does a great job. It thins it right out. So there's no odor to these. No odor at all. Of course, they are water-based, so you probably wouldn't have any odor. Yeah, no odor. Viscosity right out of the bottle. You're looking when you're airbrushing, you're looking for the viscosity of like 2% milk or skim milk, somewhere around there. And this looks like that right out of the bottle. I'll tell you the truth. My expectations coming in, I saw about 5 or 6 different other channels reviewing this stuff, and my expectations coming in were pretty high. And I got to tell you the truth, and I'm not just saying this because I'm partnering with Gaahleri. I'm saying this because it's true. You've seen my videos. You know I don't screw around and tell you crap that's not true. This has either met or exceeded my expectations so far. We got to see how it holds up to the toothpick and other tests. But so far, so good. Great stuff. Well worth the money, and like I said, we'll get to the money at the end of the video. So that's all we've got for brushing this stuff on. I'm going to let it dry a couple hours, and I'll be back and we'll put it through its paces. We'll put on some varnish. We'll be back. Alright, and welcome back to the booth. I've given these some time to dry. They're still a little, feel a little tacky, but they're plenty sturdy. Let's look at these, how they turned out. This is the yellow with prime. Actually, I think the prime's showing a little bit. If I put another coat on it, it'd be great. Without prime, it is perfect. This is perfect. Got some stuff on it, picked up some stuff on the floor of the booth, but it is perfect. Now, blue. Here's blue without prime, little streaky. Blue with prime was perfect. The opacity is just absolutely fantastic. These look good. The red, this is red with prime. Has a bit of a flat look, but it has some shine to it. Red without prime is absolutely fantastic. Let's compare Kaliedo blue-gray. Let's go with Kaliedo blue with prime. And that's the difference, folks. And we are going to cover the price here in a bit. Okay, and we're going to do a tape test here. First on the yellow, I'm just going to pick one out. Press this tape on. Nothing. There is nothing. This has only been drying for about an hour and a half. Look at this. Nothing. Let's try it with the blue. I bet it's nothing. I bet it's nothing. Nothing. You can't even tell where the tape was. Let's try it on the red. Nothing. Nothing. Passes the tape test with flying colors. And just for fairness sake, we're going to do the Vallejo, and that, as usual, was nothing. So, tape test. Flying colors passed beautifully. Let's see how it holds up. You know, it's still not, my fingernail can scratch it away, but it hasn't had time to cure yet. And it's scratching this. Like I said, hasn't had time to cure yet. This hasn't had time to cure yet, so it's gonna, but what this does tell me is that this would be a great candidate. You know, Vallejo takes a little more, but you could still see the scratches there. What this tells me is this Kaliedo paint would be a great paint candidate for chipping. What I'm going to try now is I'm going to change airbrushes, and we're going to test the Kaliedo gloss clear varnish on this. First thing I have to do is empty out this airbrush, and then we're going to load it up with some matte clear, and I'm going to compare it to the clear coat that I use, the Holloway House Clear Shine. See who has the better clear coat finish. So here we go. Let's put a little Kaliedo varnish in there. Here we go. Oh yeah. Love it. That I will put on I tell you what, I love the way it's spraying. And it's laying down great. I'm going to put all these on the turntable that I'm spraying. Here's the red I'm going to use. There we go. I'm going to clean out the airbrush, and then the next one will be this one, the Vallejo, using my Holloway House Clear Shine, the way I usually do it before I'm tested this line out. So I'm going to dump this rest of this in here and clean this out real good. Put some Holloway House in there and test it out. So we'll be right back. Okay, we have our Vallejo spoon here. Got our Holloway House Clear Shine in there. Here we go. And there it's sprayed on. I will open this back up, show you that I was actually using it, because I wouldn't pour this back in here if it wasn't the stuff I was using. So there you go. So we have Lido varnish on, gloss clear. We have Holloway House Clear Shine on the Vallejo one. We're going to let these dry, just like we did with all the other steps. We'll come back, see how they look, see how everything laid down, see how it's holding up. And then I'll make my final verdict on the paints and the varnish and everything else. So we'll be back. Alright, and we're back at the booth, and we've been given this time, about an hour and a half to dry a little bit. Like the paint, it's still a bit tacky, but overall, I mean, got some white specks on there, but look at the gloss finish on that. That is great. The unevenness was my fault. I gotta learn to stay off the trigger a bit. But I also know from watching other channels that this does handle wet sanding and polishing great. So let's take a look at this compared to the Holloway House Clear Shine. Gee, what do you think? What do you think? Right there. Right there is my pick. It lays better, lays so much better. It levels. That's the word I'm looking for. It levels great. So much better than Holloway House ever thought of doing. On these other two, the imperfections were my fault. Let's show you how it does when you brush it on. This is what you get. That looks like dollar store craft paint that you get for $1. This is sprayed. This is brushed. This is not a knock on Gaahleri at all, because they say on the box that it is specially made for airbrushing, not for the hairy stick. So remember that. Okay, well, that's all I have to say about this here. Very durable, levels out like an enamel. I mean, wow, I'm impressed. And I'm just not just saying that. I am impressed. And you guys know, if I don't like something, I'll say it. So I'm gonna shut this off, and I'll be back to sum everything up and give you my final verdict. We'll see you in a second. All right, we're back. Time for my final thoughts and the whole verdict on these paints. What impressed me? Pretty much everything. They atomize great out of the airbrush. They lay nicely, very nicely. If you get them clumped up in a space, you know, they're self-leveling. They'll just level out beautifully. Their durability, they stand up to a lot of things. They didn't stand up to the toothpick, but I only had them drying for an hour and a half, 2 hours, And it says on the package, for full durability, you need at least 24 hours of drying time. But for an hour and a half, 2 hours of that 24, oh, that toughness impressed me, because I still had to dig down to scratch it. What could be better, I'll show you. Gaahleri, these tops here, don't cut it. I tried to pour this cleaner into the paint cup to clean my airbrush yesterday when I was first putting the primer on, and it just ran all over the place. Get a dropper type of bottle. It'd be perfect. That's about the only thing I could think of that really turned me off. I'm really impressed with these. And another thing that impressed me was that there. All these have an agitator in them. Even the paints. That's great. Keep doing that, Gaahleri. That's excellent. Value for the money. Here's what I've been telling you about. What do these cost? Well, you can get them by the bottle, depending on what line you're buying them from, whether you're getting them from Mecca or Primary Colors or Auto Colors or Metallics. They cost either from $3.50 a bottle to $4 a bottle for 20 milliliters. Vallejo. I looked this up on Amazon last night. Vallejo cost about $6.50 per bottle for 17 milliliters. A bottle out of this box that Gaahleri sent me, cost of a bottle out of this box of Primary Colors cost 17 cents a milliliter. A milliliter of the Vallejo cost 44 cents. And the Gaahleri either equals or surpasses the Vallejo on almost every test I threw at it. Leads me to the question, if you've tried the Gaahleri Kaliedo paint brand, let me know what you thought of it in the comments. I'd really love to hear about you on that, and I'll forward your comments to Sita at Gaahleri. He'd love to know what you think. Don't forget about the Facebook group, the Frugal Scale Modeler. I'll leave a link to it in the video description. Just go to the home page, answer 3 questions, and also agree to the group rules. Once I check those out and approve them, you're free to post anything, well, any model related thing you want. So check that out. And also remember that I am working with Gaahleri. I am collaborating with them. If you go on the Gaahleri website, buy you a set of paints. Take some time, look around at the different colors of paints they have. Spend some time on there. And if you buy something at the checkout, if you put in the code MW Mike, all capital letters, one word, MW Mike, at the checkout, you get an extra 10% off. So go ahead and check that out. Good place to get these paints, along with the Gaahleri store on Amazon.com. You might be able to use the code there. I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, but worth a shot. The next video is going to be the top mistakes that budget modelers make and the way to fix them. So that should be interesting. Don't forget, if you like what you've seen here, like and subscribe. If that's not enough, well, it should be, because that's all I got. Y'all know what we say here. Never stop pushing your modeling boundaries. Until next time, bye-bye.